Welcome to the regular monthly meeting of the Camden Advisory Board of Education.
The regular notice requirement of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act has been complied with, and that adequate advance notice of this meeting was given at least 48 hours in advance. On June 18, 2014, notice was mailed to the Courier Post and the Aldea. Notice was also posted on the bulletin board located by the reception desk at the central office and all school building bulletin boards within the district. Roll call.
Ms. Atwood? Here. Mr. Brito? Here. Ms. Burley? Ms. Coscarello?
Here.
Ms. Manier?
Here.
Mr. Muhammad? Ms. Reyes Morton?
Excused.
Ms. Wilson?
Present.
Ms. Blackshear? You have a quorum?
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to go into closed session.
She already read
Would our attorney explain what we'll be dealing with in closed session?
Chris Oberg has that explanation.
that. The reasons for the closed session, we'll be dealing with matters of personnel, labor negotiations, contract, real estate, and confidential student matters.
I'll entertain a motion. Second. Call the roll.
All in favor? Opposed? We're in executive.
Thank you.
For the public's information, we'll be returning at 6:30 for the regular public portion. Thank you.
Motion to come out of closed.
Motion to come out of closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
We will now have the presentations and announcements and recognition swearing in of student representatives.
We're doing the student representatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll now have the swearing in of the student board members. So we'll start. Please state your full name.
I'm Alexa Lopez. I'm Madre Larios. I'm Khadija Schubert. Nala Johnson. Wanda Haley. Amber Carter. I'm Gabriella Lovewood. And Maggie Beth.
Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people. I affirm that I possess the qualifications for the office of Student Board Representative, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of our Student Advisory Board members. The Advisory Board would invite you all to have a seat here on the first row. Hopefully the Student Advisory Board members will also join us here. I think maybe there was some miscommunication. We're now going into the presentation. Okay, good evening, everybody. I want to begin the superintendent's presentation today with some really sad news. We had an 11th grader at Med East earlier this week. Her name is Jera Rivera, who passed away. She had a long-term illness that she was suffering, and not going to disclose the details of it for family and confidential reasons, but the team here sent crisis counselors and other school support to Med East earlier in the week. The community really came together to honor Ms. Rivera, and so they are grieving, and I just want to acknowledge that their community is coming together to grieve her loss. So before we get started, also I want to point out that there is a table out in the hallway to the extent anyone has any specific personnel questions. I know they often come up during the course of the meeting, so I just want to quickly highlight that. So to get started here, as you heard earlier, these are our student board representatives. I believe Med East is our two representatives that were not able to make it tonight, but it's Roni Liu and Tymir Branch, who were actually the representatives last year as well. So you will see familiar faces once they're able to join us at the next meeting. I want to begin by just acknowledging the work that went into the start of the school year and some of the activities as we kicked off the year. Here's some pictures from the first week of school. Thank you to all the board members who participated in our back to school campaign. I want to thank Ms. Blackshear, Ms. Manier, and Ms. Burley for hosting back to school block parties, and I know a number of the people who are seated here today were at those events, and I thought it was a great way to celebrate the start of the school year. Now, I want to spend an appropriate amount of time discussing the topic of vacancies and substitute teachers. I imagine a number of our speakers today during public commentary will raise this, and I know a number of our student advisory board members will raise this. So vacancies and substitutes are very much interconnected, but I'm going to discuss vacancies first, and then we'll jump into the issue of substitute teachers. So we have currently today, as you see up here, out of 1,132 instructional positions in the district, we have 32 vacancies that remain, which means that we have staffed 97% of the positions across the district. We started the school year with 88 vacancies, and so we are now down to 32, and that is more than a 50% improvement. There are two issues that drive vacancies, and this is a really critical issue that we're grappling with, and it's an issue that district has been grappling with for years. The issue one is that we often get late separations, meaning that late in the year there are resignations and retirements. And this year we had more than 120 instructional staff who retired or resigned after May. We had a number who resigned or retired in the month of August, and a number who actually just didn't even show up this year. And so when you're dealing with that late of notice, particularly those who don't show up without any notice, that doesn't give you a lot of running room in order to then go out and hire a replacement. The other issue that is driving the vacancy numbers, hard to staff subject areas. So they are noted here. So these are traditionally hard to staff areas: special education, bilingual ESL, and math science teachers. That is not something that is unique to Camden. That is unique. That is something that other urban school districts and other suburban school districts, for that matter, rural school districts face. Hard to staff subject areas. The majority of those 32 vacancies are in hard to staff subject areas. And I know that a number of community members have voiced the concern that layoffs led to the issue that we're dealing with, but we did not lay off a single person in a hard to staff subject area because we don't have enough of them to begin with. So the crux of this issue has to do with challenges that we have been facing here for years and the country has been facing in other school districts. Now, substitutes is a whole nother can of worms. We have a lot more than 32 substitutes, and you're going to hear from a number of people today who are going to tell you that there are too many substitutes in a number of our schools. So substitutes are driven by, of course, vacancies, but also staff who are on leave. So staff who are suspended or dealing with other personnel matters, and then just day-to-day absences. On average, 12% of our instructional staff are absent. That's been the district average for years. And so the vast majority of our substitutes have to do with just day-to-day absences and day-to-day positions that are vacant because of personnel leaves, and again, sick leave, personal leaves. So that's what's driving this. I want you all to be clear on a few things, though. This is the top priority for us, ensuring that every school is properly staffed. And we're in a much better place today than we were earlier in the year, and we're going to continue to work hard at it. There is one issue that we can be much more proactive about going forward, and that is creating a system where we receive earlier notification from our educators. And right now, there is not a great incentive for teachers to submit notice of any potential resignations or retirements, and we need to address that issue. And so that is something that we are actively discussing, and we're hopeful that we will have something in place for this upcoming budget season so that we're not, again, dealing with late retirements and resignations. There were a couple announcements that happened earlier this summer that I want to call out. One is that we committed to opening up 4 new parent centers, and one of those centers we announced this summer, located in the Cooper Plaza community in partnership with Center for Family Services. And this is a great opportunity for us to create centers that are accessible to the community, and we've created a help desk in those centers, and in this case, in partnership with Center for Family Services, where we're training their staff so that they know how to resolve issues for families right there in the Cooper Plaza community. And we look forward to announcing 3 more of these over the course of the year. I think a lot of you all may have heard about the Community Eligibility Food Program. So this is a program that is enacted through a piece of federal legislation called the Health and Hunger Free Kids Act. This is a significant victory for our school district. So what this act allows any district in the country to do is that if 40% of our students, or of a district students, of the student body of a district, qualify for free or reduced lunch, then they are then eligible for every student to receive free meals and to not have to deal with the hassle of the paperwork related to free and reduced lunches. Almost 95% of our students qualify for free and reduced lunch, and we won this program. And so while 95% of them already qualified, the victory here is not just for the 5% that now get a free lunch and a free breakfast, but that the paperwork is now eliminated. And that has always been a hassle for students and families, and it's just another way that we've become more family-friendly and made life easier for our students and families. And that's, again, a really big victory. And congratulations to everyone on the staff who helped us get to this point. We are expanding a pilot program called Positive Behavior Support in Schools, and this is a program that creates proactive and positive systems so that we are rewarding pro-social positive student behaviors. It was last year in H.B. Wilson veterans and U.S. Wiggins, and now this year we are expanding it into R.T. Cream, and it's an initiative that we look forward to continuing to further expand into other schools. Lastly, I just want to share out some district highlights. I know a number of the people here were at the event, Dads Take Your Children to School Day. I was able actually to attend the reception here in Dudley. It was awesome to see all of our dads walking their kids to school that day. We had a wonderful conversation about the important role they play in their students' lives. And then there was a corresponding Saturday celebration as well over at Creative Arts Morgan Village. So this is the carnival at Creative Arts Morgan Village. And this was all hosted and run by School-Based Youth Services. I want to thank Andrea Mitri for having led that on behalf of the district. And lastly, football season is underway. I think most people here are aware of that as well. And the Camden High Panthers are off to a 2-0 start with 3-0 now? Congratulations to the Camden High Panthers. I know that this past Friday was a resounding victory over Delsey, 47-7. So we'll look forward to seeing their continued success on the football field. We'll now huddle back up here on stage. That concludes the superintendent's presentation. Happy to take any questions, and then we'll go into public commentary. Well, I think you can open it up to any comments from the board members first, any questions, concerns, and then we'll open it up to them. I think so, yeah.
You sure?
Questions, comments? Yeah. Ms. Atwood.
SWAG 2.0 program, or that's upcoming, but the SWAG Summer Youth Employment Program, but they did a wonderful job. Mr. Green and Ms. Figueroa and all of their staff and Tia Mars and whatever. But the basic, what I want to say, the basic, I forgot the word I'm trying to say, but the children gained the most from it because it raised their self-esteem. They enjoyed the work experience. They learned a lot. They got to interact more socially than they had been before. And they reported some of their self-esteem was raised from 3 to 10%. They felt like that's how good, I mean, from 3 to 10, because at first they were unsure about themselves, and after having their first job and being very successful at it, they felt very good about themselves. And SWAG was a great name for the program because they felt a lot of swag afterwards because they were so successful.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
At this time, we will entertain comments from our newly sworn-in board members. Student Advisory Board.
Pardon me? Okay. Take this mic out.
Tell us who you are and what
Just hold
school
it,
you're
hold it.
representing.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle. I'm from Camden High. How are you guys? Good. Okay. I'd like to inform you of the problems we have in our school. We are lacking, well, safety reasons that we don't have any metal detectors, so we are pat down and we are touched in our bosoms and our crotches. Excuse my language, but that's the truth. And we should have metal detectors. Every other school in this district has metal detectors. Woodrow Wilson, right?
Yes, but we don't even use it.
They don't use it. So why, if you guys are saying that it's safer, then why is everyone being patted down and bags are searched that when they start taking away phones? Could not be done prior, like the first day of school. And also in lunches, we don't have a lot of desks, well, tables, so some children are sitting on the ground. So where there's lack of food, which there was today, some students didn't get food because we have around 782 students in that school. And that's happening. Why? Because it's a predominantly Latino and African American school, and I think that's unfair. And there's a competition across the schools. Everyone right here, and we are known that Camden High is a punishment, and it's not. I am just as capable as every student from different schools sitting right here. And the children in my school don't feel that way. And I think we need to fix that instead of working on, oh, well, safety. You guys should be promoting a fun and nurturing environment to the students, not just money-wise. It starts from home. And by home, I mean their heart. And you guys need to work on that. Okay? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Khadija Schubert, and I'm a returning representative from Bermejo Arts High School. And we don't have any safety reasons as far as I'm concerned, but we do have education reasons. We talked earlier about a business teacher, and we need one to fill a spot. Also, we need books because we put in the order for medical terminology. For those who don't know, it's a college-based course that we take as seniors, and it's a very good opportunity for us, but we don't have the material. We cannot progress. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Yalexa Lopez from Woodrow Wilson High School, and I'm a student representative. There's really not much going on in the school right now, but so far as the classes are really packed. Well, we already know due to the fact that there's not a lot of teachers because they were laid off and so. But same thing with certain things, like we have certain classes where they're packed to more than 40 to 30 kids, and other kids can't be sitting so crowded to each other. And when it comes to the summer, it's really, really hot, and that makes the people more frustrated as far as air conditioners. And I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I am Nala Johnson, a senior at Creative Arts Morgan Village Academy. And we are having a pretty good year so far. It's the first month of the year, and I'm actually very surprised. Like, we have books, we have everything we need. The vegetarian, the Airmark, their food is great. I love their food. Actually, we fight, not fight, but people try to take my food, like, oh no, it's too good. So I really want to give a shout out to them. We're having a pretty good year so far, so that's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone here from Medis? No one's here, no? Okay.
And in regards to what Woodrow Wilson was saying, because we have around, 25 vacancies, and I just got a chemistry teacher this week, and I'm happy that you guys have teachers. I am. I'm jealous of that. And overcrowding. We have 12th grade students repeating 9th grade classes. Why is that? So I want to know. Why should I be a 12th grader doing 9th grade classes because we don't have any electives? Because, let's face it, nobody really cares. You guys don't care about, I'm going to say you guys don't care about us, but you guys need to show a little bit more effort because it's very unfair. This will never happen in a white school. Ever. Never. But I can't change the color of my skin. I really can't. This wasn't my choice. It was my parents' fault. But I can't change that I'm black. But as I said, I am just as capable, and I'm going to work twice as hard as a white person to get where I am. And I'm going to make sure those kids in Camden High work as hard as these kids. Always.
Thank you.
Yeah, look, we met earlier today and talked through these issues, and I appreciate the passion that Gabrielle has and all of our student advisory board members have. And we're going to sit down and talk through the specifics of it. I want Gabrielle and others to know here about the 25 vacancies. So Camden High, and we'll sit down and literally look through the positions. There are 3 vacancies at Camden High right now. There are a lot of substitutes there because a lot of the staff are on leave, and there are some staff on personnel leave. So we're grappling with a number of issues there, not just vacancies. But look, we hear you. We certainly think you're capable. We know you're capable, and we agree on that point. Yes.
Mr. Oberg, you have the list to call for the public to come to the mic in reference to the superintendent's report.
Business office agenda has to be
business office agenda items.
And then your state.
Do I say that now?
After mine.
Okay, good.
Okay. The business office agenda items.
Okay. For the board members, this month, the financials, you have the bill list. Due to the closing of the year and the auditors being in, our other financial reports will be coming out beginning next month. In addition, you have items 1 through 21 for agenda items that we need to have approved. Mr. Superintendent?
Under the authority vested in the State District Superintendent through Title 18A, I hereby approve tonight's superintendent's agenda items and business office agenda items. Public commentary.
We will now entertain public commentary.
All right, here are the rules for public comment. The Camden City School District welcomes the attendance and comments from all members of the public at its meetings. This public comment period is your time to be heard on the agenda items in this meeting. Each person who signed up to comment will have 3 minutes. You will be notified when your 3 minutes are up. You cannot yield your time to another person. When it is your turn to speak, please remain at the podium and address all of your comments to the board president or the superintendent. Please conduct yourself in a respectful and courteous manner. For anyone whose comments or actions either harass, intimidate, or threaten the safety of any person, we will provide you with a warning or immediately end your comment time. Also, if you curse, use vulgar language, or make personal attacks, we will provide you with a warning or end your comment time. We will not interrupt you during your 3 minutes of comments. Members of the audience should also not interrupt the speaker at the podium. If you have any questions, please ask your questions during your 3-minute comment period. After the public comment period is closed, the superintendent or his designee will address your questions to the extent provided by law. Thank you for your understanding. First commenter is Keith Walker.
Good evening. Good evening, members of the board and members of the community and Camden Education Association. I'm going to address a disturbing trend that I see in the city of Camden as far as education. And I term it neo-racism. And what I've seen, and what my observations have revealed is that, a lot of teachers have left, a lot of administrators have left. Either they've been forced out, coerced out, or they've left of their own free will. But nonetheless, when black teachers are leaving, we're replacing them ostensibly with white teachers, white administrators. And my experience, my life experience, I have difficulty with racism. I believe that we need to be very cognizant of the demographics of our community. We need to be very cognizant of the importance of having people who look like the students in leading the classroom so that the students are able to identify, and those people who are leading the classroom are able to identify with the specific needs and interests of the students. Further, we've implemented a program of separate but equal education facilities. Pine Point Middle School. We have Mastery on one half of the school, and we have the public facility on the other half. Clearly, that is in violation of a Supreme Court decision in the Brown versus Board of Education case, where separate but equal educational facilities were found to be unconstitutional because they were, in fact, separate and unequal. And here we are in the city of Camden implementing separate but allegedly equal education facilities. How can we do that? And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The whole system, as it's been implemented, this process, it's flawed. The state stripped the Camden residents of their right to elect their school board, and then they came back and they allowed people to appoint a school board. And I would say this to anyone who would accept that appointed position after the residents have been stripped of their constitutional rights, you should be ashamed. You should not take that position because it is fruit from a rotten tree. I know my time. I know 3 minutes is not much time, but I think my points are are well-directed, and I think that I know that there are many of you who understand. You know me well. You know that I'm not going to come up here and throw barbs at people, but these issues are very disturbing. They bother me deeply, and I hope and I trust that we will do something to rectify these issues and address these concerns. Thank you.
Number 2, Jessica Franzini.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to address you tonight. My name's Jessica Franzini. I am a program director in Camden for the New Jersey Tree Foundation. So I'd like to start by just thanking the board for your continuous support of our tree planting efforts at Camden schools. I'm actually filling a different role tonight. So in my free time, I've been serving for the Camden Collaborative Initiative's Environmental Education Working Group. And there's a great opportunity that's been presented by the National Park Service to bring kids from Camden Public Schools to the water here in Camden in canoes with the National Park Service. And I believe Brim School had submitted to be on the agenda. I saw it was not on the agenda, but I was copied to the submission from August 29th. So I'm here to advocate and ask if there's something we may be able to do to include 30 students from Brim on Tuesday, October 7th, and explore opportunities to even potentially include other schools in Camden. So just a little background, the Canoe Mobile is a national effort for students grades 6 through 12. It is stopping in Detroit, New York City, Philadelphia, and Chester, among other cities across the country. It would be wonderful to see Camden City Public Schools involved in this event. I'm kindly asking your support for student involvement for any school that may be interested in having kids at the Canoe Mobile. That again takes place Monday, October 6th and Tuesday, October 7th here in Camden. I understand that events involving water and students can be high risk. These risks will be mitigated by an experienced team that has been implementing canoe trips nationally and internationally for over 35 years. They will be using 24-foot, 10-passenger boats that are over 350 pounds each and very sturdy. In all of their years of experience, they have never flipped a boat. In addition to having a boat captain for every team of students that is lifeguard certified and CPR certified, and a wilderness first responder in each boat, there will also be safety boats on site from the U.S. Coast Guard. So we are confident this is a very safe opportunity for students in Camden schools. The students will wear life jackets and receive safety orientation prior to entering the water. So with that, the Environmental Education Working Group here in Camden feels that this event is an outstanding outdoor learning opportunity for Camden students, and I would ask you to kindly work with us to see if we can get some participation from the public school district. Thank you.
Third commenter, Gabriella Buckley. Oh, okay. All right, fourth commenter, Ulysses Delgado.
Ulysses Delgado, 3197 Federal Street, community activist, 60 years in residence in Camden. Mr. Superintendent, I want to thank Taisha for that good program she had, back to school day program in our neighborhood. A lot of kids needed school bags and all this, got pencils, and I admire her and her father for doing a fantastic job. She had little programs on the stage there, kids entertaining in there, all in residents of East Camden, and you touch our hearts in East Camden. And continue the good work with our residents in East Camden, and you'll have my backing. Mr. Superintendent, I see still drug activities at Woodrow Wilson High School. I see kids dealing with drugs around there in the schools, but the kids bring it to my attention. And I'm a little concerned what's happening there. But you have a great principal in that school there. So far, he's been doing a good job with our kids in there. And I'm getting a lot of feedback from our kids. They're not allowed to bring their phones into the school. They should be shut off and tamed to the school and learn. And another thing, We're having an event October 10th, the city, or Dudley Range Park. We're gonna clean the park a little more better, and towards the other side, we're gonna plant some barriers in there, some trees in there, so cars won't be going in through there. Last week, I gave some award to the deputy chief and Angel Fuentes for doing a great job in safety and pertaining to the city of Camden and East Camden. I was a supporter of Camden Police, but they're not here no more, so I'm with Metro Police, supporting them 110%. These are my police officers. They are protecting our neighborhoods, and they're doing a fantastic job in the city of Camden. I'm hoping they continue to do the good work and be around our kids, and they're walking around, and now I can sit on my porch and walk in my neighborhoods, see my grandkids, go to the park every day, go to the store, and being safe. And Pine Point, the charter schools have less kids. Public schools got more kids in our classroom. I'd like to see you continue to see if you can find some bilingual teachers for Pine Point. They're in need there. And have a nice, blessed day, and have a good night.
Number 5, Calvin Medina.
Hello, my name is Kelvin Medina. As you have heard, I'm here to talk about the students of Camden High School, how we've been being neglected, as Gabriella Buckley has already told you. We are not allowed to receive OTC drugs in our school, which is over the counter if you do not know. And certain kids will often have migraines from either school complications or something happening at home that they can't be provided at home. And when they get to our school, they seek medical attention, and they will often need a doctor's note for something you can buy by yourself. That's one of the many complications over at Camden High School. And also, as Gabriella Buckley has also said, is that when we go to our lunches, I see kids sitting down on the floors, they are walking the halls, they're interrupting other teachers' lessons. And as I am working in one of my classrooms, I have kids banging at my door whenever I'm learning a certain lesson. And these kids are often only outside their classrooms because they can't eat, so they get fussy, they get loud, they do not have a place to sit, so they gang up with their friends and they go everywhere else and they start beating on any class. And yes, we have the security that handles it, but most of the time security are so buddy-buddy with all the students that they just sometimes let students off with a warning and then the students do it anyways. Also, the lack of substitutes. We have our substitute one day, have another substitute the next, and this substitute doesn't know what the last substitute taught, so I'm back at square one, or I'm at the end of the lesson book learning something I don't know, 2 cents about. And then I have to look forward to going into my JRTC period, which is probably the only period that I really like out of the whole Camden High, because most of my teachers are substitutes, and I'm getting a substitute after each day, and by the time I hit JRTC, I'm finally relieved to actually have a certified colonel and a certified sergeant that are there to teach me economics, worldwide studies, even though that's not what they're supposed to teach. They teach us that, and also financial literacy. That's it.
Number 6, Kevin Barfield.
Good evening, Superintendent and board members. Quick question, Superintendent. Is it you combine the question in the superintendent report with a public comment portion too?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna make it quick. On page 55 of your superintendent report, I see that you have some ratification of meetings at the Parent Center. I don't see District Parent Advisory Council meetings or executive meetings, which has always been supported by the district. So can you clarify why that's not a part of this superintendent's report? And then the other thing is, like some of the students were saying, I did go to the back to school night at the comprehensive high school. You know, I'm concerned as a parent, again, as seeing again that you, and I, you know, appreciate the presentation about, you know, clarifying some of the issues with staffing, which, you know, I can understand some of those points, but then I can't understand too when we're talking about equity in the school, which we know that's a federal guideline, and usually the district has an equity plan where each school is having the same amount of access to funding, quality staffing, and all those things. So I can understand a young lady standing up there and feeling kind of slighted that you can see one student, you know, talking about they got books and this and that and this, and then we go over here at Camden High, they don't. Because when I'm sitting there and I'm talking at back to school night to some of these teachers and the vocational staff, you know, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the supplies. And when you came in here, Superintendent, you promised that all of our children would have a quality education. And when we have these photos, snapshots of, oh, we got computers, we have books, and for instance, even in the family school that night, I'm looking at the textbooks. I seen one textbook, and it was a language arts book that had core curriculum content on it. The rest of them were old, used books. I had one teacher had to go through 5 different resources of information that she was going to pull together so she can teach a particular content. And I can't understand how we know that the requirements that the state has tightened up on our kids, and we still don't have quality material, but yet we want to evaluate these teachers. You know, so as a parent, I'm concerned about that, and I would like to know how you're going to address that. I want to know who's in part of your staff that's monitoring to see if these classrooms have the technology, have the books, because again, and I would like a copy of the curriculum. I want to know what the curriculum, because like the gentleman said, if you got a substitute teacher, if you got a curriculum in place, a substitute teacher should be able to come in there and pick up right where that other teacher have left off, because they're going to teach what that curriculum is saying, or what the district claimed all the years when we've been asking that you had curriculum in place for all these major subjects. Now, and again, we keep wanting to hold our kids accountable, but when are the staff and adults going to be accountable? If I'm going to be accountable and always blamed as a parent why my kid's not learning, but like we said, if these kids are hungry, if these kids got substitute teachers who are just in there getting paid for a day and don't have no direction, just like some of the teachers may have, then how are you going to expect these kids to want to be engaged in education? You know, so this is serious. We're in October now. One of the things I want to, before I close this out, was I don't know if the district is also aware, or y'all monitoring some of our students who have been sent back into the district. I know I've received a notice from the transportation saying that, you know, sending out a bus schedule. So
Thank you, Mr. Barfield. Your time is up.
Okay, so that means that actually the district is being built. And the other thing I'm going to leave on this one, how can I get a copy of the Perkins plan? The Perkins plan, multi-plan, which should identify how that Perkins funding is being spent and how they're utilizing, upgrading those individual programs. So how can I get a copy of that plan so I can know what's going on in the school?
Number 7, Sophie Sarkar.
Can you hear me? Mr. Superintendent, Board, my name is Sophie Sarkar. I'm from the National Park Service in Philadelphia, and I'm here because I coordinate the canoe-mobile program that Jessica Franzini spoke of earlier. And I'm here because we want to open this opportunity to Camden's public schools. We think that public school students deserve the right to to engage in these sort of opportunities, these sort of resources that we offer, as much as the private schools and the charter schools in Camden. We partner with an amazing organization to implement this programming. They're called Wilderness Inquiry. They're based in Minneapolis, but they go on this tour of over 24 cities nationwide. They stop in New York City, Washington, D.C., and they're stopping in Camden, Chester, and a bunch of the local cities in this area. And over the 2 weeks that they're going to be here, we hope to engage as many as 2,400 kids in canoeing experiences and land-based programming around water quality and environmental education. This program is backed by the National Park Service. It's backed by the US EPA. It's backed by several local organizations as well. These sorts of events attract a lot of media attention. We're going to have a press event on October 7th, and we'll have the US EPA Regional Administrator at that event. We'll also have our Deputy Director from the National Park Service at the event. There's even a possibility that the Secretary of Interior may show up. Last year, we implemented a very successful event in Camden out of Wiggins Park Marina, and we engaged about 100 students, which was great, but they all came from a private school. And we really want, the heart of this program is to get underserved students from urban areas out on their urban waterways. And we need your permission to be able to do that. Thank you.
Number 8, Javon Banks.
All right. Hello, I'm Javon Banks from Camden High. I'm part of the peer leadership group. I have plenty and a lot of concerns and problems with that school. I actually came from a predominantly white school. I was there for 3 years. I went to their middle school for 2 years of my life. Altogether, that's 5 years being in that school system, and I see a lot of major differences that should be handled in our school. All right. So to begin with, I pointed out that you said with the teachers not attending school. That's not true, actually, for a fact that I know that you guys laid off our teachers, and you guys laid off a lot of our teachers, and with our teachers being laid, most of them have found jobs throughout the summer. So when you guys asked them to come back, that's the reason why they couldn't come back, because they found jobs. So now we're stuck with a lot of substitute teachers who don't know anything about the things that they're teaching, and their excuse is for their teachings is that they have a master's. But a master's is not going to get me to where I got to get if you can't teach me what I need to know in this particular subject. Also, like Gabrielle said, with students sitting on the ground in lunch, that is true. Many students sit on the grounds and inside on the tables, and many students leave the cafeteria because there's nowhere to sit, so they find classes to sit in and eat, or they disrupt classes, like Calvin has said also. What else? There's so many problems with the school. It's like ridiculous. I don't know where to begin. Geez. Let's see. Okay, lockers. We don't have lockers yet. Why is that? Schedules are backed up. Schedules should be handled throughout the summertime. We should come to school with our schedules. We shouldn't have to wait and not have schedules inside the school. Also, once again, with substitutes, there's so many substitutes. It's sad that I have to come in every day and I have to meet a new teacher every single day. And that has happened to me for the 3 weeks now that school has been going on. And there's so many, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think because there's so many problems. There's a wide range. But yes, at my old school, substitutes, we never had that many substitutes. That's sad to see. We have so many in that school. Also with you guys, our budgets. You guys cutting our budgets. Sad. Yeah. Thank you. But also, I have more to say, and throughout this year and these meetings that we're going to have here, I'm going to be here and attending them until I see changes are made into the school, because it's sad, and I don't want to see my brothers and my sisters of Camden High School not succeed. Just saying. Thank you.
Number 9, Kelly Francis.
Good evening, Superintendent, board members. Kelly Francis, Camden County NAACP. Basically, I just want to recall some of our history 5 years ago for the people. I see a lot of new people who are new to the meetings, may not be aware of what happened 5 years ago with our school district. John Corzine, who was the governor at the time, he was at the end of his term of office, 2009, and he appropriated approximately, I believe, $170 million to be earmarked for the rebuilding of the Camden High School, the complete rebuilding of the Landing Square Elementary School, and also the refurbishing of the Pine Point Middle School. Of course, he left office. His time expired early 2010, January 2010. They had already begun the refurbishing of the Camden High School tower because of its historical, the nature that it was determined to be historical. The Landing Square School was shovel-ready. And in 2010, when our current governor was inaugurated, he withheld all of that money, $170 million, and of course, at that point, all construction stopped. There was no further activity with Camden High or Pine Point or the Landing Square School. Now, most of us who are politically savvy, we know why that was. There was a deal struck between George Norcross and, of course, Chris Christie to preserve that land for his Kip Cooper Norcross Academy. But that was a political deal that was struck, and that's why the money was withheld. But to date, that was 5 years ago. So if Camden High, the plan had proceeded and Camden High had been rebuilt, it would have been rebuilt by now. We would have had a state-of-the-art vocational facility at Camden High School, and we would have had students graduating from that vocational school in the various trades, auto mechanics, electronics, carpentry, masonry, electrical contracting, cosmetology, culinary arts. All of those trades would have been available to Camden students had that Camden High School been rebuilt as John Corzine intended. But of course, our current governor, Christie, withheld that money, and now it's being released. But now it's being released to rebuild charter schools, Renaissance schools, which is the governor's, that's his agenda. That was his agenda from the beginning. He told us that. But it's curious that now the money's being released, the same money that Corzine appropriated 5 years ago for traditional public schools is now being released for the Renaissance and the charter schools.
Thank you, Mr. Francis. Your time is up.
Not aware of that history, I just want to recall that because I see a lot of new faces here that may not be aware of that particular history of the Kansas City School District. Thank you.
Number 11, E. Ortiz.
Bear with me. I'll try to stick to the 3 minutes. Okay, here we go. We live in a great nation, the United States of America. In this nation, we live by a code, rules, the United States Constitution. In the first sentence, it states, "We the people." Our constitutional rights are being violated. We the people are being bullied. We the people are being lied to. We keep asking our board members, and our leaders for answers to these questions, and so far, we really haven't gotten anywhere. We have no clear insight into the future of the public school system. I researched days in and out and realized that this is so much bigger than just this board. These poor decisions fall to the responsibility of Governor Chris Christie and his administration. But please know, board members, that as I address you here today, you too are accountable as well for the citizens, students, and educators of Camden, New Jersey. Along with two parents, I sat with you, along with two parents, sat with you for a meeting where I asked you, Paymon, to challenge me to think differently about my concerns with the dismantle of the public school system. You listened, but just said that I had made assumptions. And although I appreciated your time, I need you to know that you are wrong and that I cannot make assumptions based on research. Tia Morris also sat with us. She has what sounds to be great plans for us, but even she does not know what she is up against. So that makes me wonder how educated to the cause are the board members. I asked, why are you promoting for charters when you work for the district? And these people are only trying to profit off the poor. Tia said, no, they don't. They are nonprofits. I assured her that they do, and that in 7 to 10 years, Norcross alone would double his money for Kip Cooper Norcross Academy. That the NFL is also a nonprofit organization, yet they make millions of dollars a year. So we ask, stop dismantling the public education. Enough is enough. We are not guinea pigs. We are not a science experiment. There are flaws in what you are doing. For example, as we discussed, Safe Corridors is intended for all children of the city of Camden. But what happens at 4:30 p.m. when the children get dropped off in groups off of the buses from the charter schools? Where are the crossing guards for all of those students? Where are the officers that are supposed to be posted up ensuring the safety of those children? It's been 2 weeks since I brought this to your attention and nothing has changed. I continue to be ignored by Kip, who somehow received my personal information, yet you deny giving them access. Here I have a letter today from a nonprofit organization, and yet it is addressed to the resident, not to Elizabeth Ortiz. Why is that? Yesterday, the S-22641 won the Senate 32-1. It's downright shameful that in the middle of the night, politicians slipped it in, and now it got passed to amend to make legal what has been illegal all along. And now Common Core, which people don't even know about, is going to be the next step to losing our civil liberties. Part of the Common Core is data mining, where they will be able to ask your children non-educational related questions. It's an invasion of privacy. In North Carolina, a judge said no to vouchers. The article says, and I quote, just a few of the reasons that the judge gave for ruling school vouchers unconstitutional are appropriates to private schools, grades K to 12, by use of funds which apparently have gone to the university system budget, but which should be used exclusively for establishing and maintaining the uniform system of free public schools. Appropriate education funds in a manner that does not accomplish a public purpose. Appropriates educational funds outside the supervision of administration of the State Board of Education, and appropriates taxpayer funds to educational institutions that have no standard curriculums and requirements for teachers and principals to be certified. In essence, the judge concluded that the North Carolina legislation, it quote, fails the children of North Carolina when they are sent with public taxpayer money to private schools that have no legal obligation to teach them anything. This is about money via privatization. Your time is up. And the sooner that you stop denying that, the sooner that you could start fighting for public education.
Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. Your time is up.
I'm almost done. The sooner that our kids can begin to have access to funds to improve their quality education with experienced and qualified teachers and upgraded buildings with resources and technologies that our founding fathers built this nation on, because we are the people of here in the United States.
Number 12, Kayaga. Number 12, Kayaga.
All right. As always, I'm going to respond to a lot of the issues that were raised. The items that I don't respond to, they will be addressed in the minutes that will be posted on the website. And as always, we will hang around after the meeting to the extent we can continue talking through any of these issues. So I want to begin with the Camden High students. I want to thank them for their comments. So Calvin Medina, Javon Banks, and of course Gabrielle, who we heard from earlier. There were a number of times my eyebrow raised based on the issues that you guys brought up today. So namely, students not having lockers, students eating on the ground in the cafeteria, schedules not being handed out. Look, guys, that's unacceptable, and if that's happening, which I assume it is, because you're there in the school sharing with us your firsthand experience, we need to move on that. And so there are immediate items that we can take action on, and then there are some other items that will continue the conversation. I want to address the over-the-counter drug policy, as that is a matter of state law. I believe that Kelvin Medina raised that one. So look, Kelvin, I don't know if other school districts are going about things differently, because I remember Gabrielle mentioned this when we were having our lunch together earlier, but it is a matter of state law that medication can only be administered by nurses. And even then, the nurse must have a note granting permission to give those medications. So that is in statute. If for whatever reason things aren't happening that way in certain schools, then we're out of compliance, and we'll have those conversations offline to make sure that we better understand what's actually happening. The substitute issue, of course, came up from all three of you. It's a matter of fact that there are only 3 vacancies there, which would tell you that the problem is certainly much bigger than 3, and it's not being driven by vacancies, and therefore it's not being driven by the layoffs, because we have recalled some staff. But there's an issue there, and we're going to work at it. There are 5 staff members who have been hired but are pending clearance. So there will be 5 new members of the instructional staff there at the school over the coming weeks. They're just going through the clearance process. So bear with us. The challenge there is that there are a number of staff members I mentioned earlier who are on personal leave. And so that's what we're working through, and we will continue to have that conversation with the student board members. There was a comment about school-based budgets and how you're concerned about budgets being cut. The school-based budget is a specific line item where schools themselves have some discretionary funds. We did not touch that in this year's budget. We certainly cut in a lot of different places, but the school-based budgets we did not cut. That is not to say that Camden High is every last resource. We are continuing to get that school the resources that it needs, and I appreciate Mr. Francis's comments. The history of that school is relevant, and it's important for all of us to be aware of it. Now, at the same time, the history of the politics and potential backroom deals and so on, like, that should not be of any concern to us today, because we're fighting to get the SDA to fund that facility. So yes, we should all be aware of history and context, but at the same time, our eye is on the prize to make sure the SDA provides that building the funding it deserves. And we're hopeful, as I mentioned before, that later this fall, we will have a significant commitment from the SDA, because that building has been neglected. And in fact, Mr. Francis mentioned that. You didn't hear that directly from the student board members, but I'm sure you feel similarly. The issues you raised were not necessarily facility issues, but we owe you that as well. So I look forward to hearing from you all in future meetings. I appreciate the fact that you're raising these issues with us, and we'll continue the conversation. Mr. Walker made a handful of comments, and I will respect every last opinion community members here have, but I do think they should be grounded in facts. And there was a comment about how we have replaced Black and Latino teachers with white teachers, and I beg to differ with that, as that is not the case. In fact, in positions that were eliminated that then led to us to have to recall, because we then lost other teachers to late retirements and resignations, we recalled the exact same teachers who were affected by the layoff. So by definition, we did not change those demographics, and there was certainly no deliberate attempt to do that. Ms. Franzini and Ms. Sarkar, to the issues that you all have raised, our staff will follow up directly with you after this meeting and talk through how we can work through them. I appreciate you all pushing those issues and those programs, and look forward to having that conversation. Mr. Delgado, it's nice to hear that there has been positive feedback on Principal Miles. We feel really good about his leadership there. That's not to say everything is going perfectly. We're working through all the challenges there as best as we can. The student advisory board members raised some specific issues at Woodrow Wilson High School with security, with lunch, with vacancies, with the dress code that came up. So we will continue to hash those out. We think that he's the right guy for the job. He's got a lot of work cut out for him, and we're going to try to give him as much support as we can. Mr. Barfield, you had a number of items. I'm going to do the best that I can here. On your point about page 55, so the the District Parent Advisory Council exec meetings were actually approved in the August board report. So the only change on report was for an event this month. So you should just be aware of that. You raised concerns about equity, and that's a much, much bigger conversation. We share in that concern. And I think we can all clearly take a step back and realize that we live in a school district where students who are walking to Woodrow Wilson High, which has had its own share of facility issues, walk by Caddo every day, and that building is state of the art. So we have inherited a setup where those are certain realities. Having said that, we're working like heck to make sure that every single school here has the resources they need and embrace those challenges and are working as hard as we can. So the questions and issues you've raised are far bigger and require a separate conversation. Curriculum and Perkins grants, we will follow up and send those over to you. And Ms. Ortiz, as always, thank you for your comments. We may not agree on every last issue you raised. We will continue to be solutions-oriented and work with you at your child's school and the other schools for which you advocate regularly. Thank you all very much and look forward to continuing the conversation. That's it.
Paymon.
How about the pat down? You didn't address anything about children being pat down. My child doesn't go to that school, but I would be concerned, and other parents would be concerned about their children being patted down.
Anthony, that's one we should take offline with the students. Thank you. You know, typically we don't like to have a back and forth here, but you're right, I did not acknowledge that. And Anthony and I will work with the students to make sure to figure out what's going on there. Thank you.
Okay, and Paymon, there was one other thing that the parents had asked the question. The fact that last month you talked about 2,300 computers coming into the district, and you did let us know 700 are going to the staff. The community would like to know what's the breakdown of where those other computers are going in the district. I know you don't have it tonight, but if okay.
So we're waiting on the carts. They have not been deployed to schools, and that's something we can post in the minutes as far as which schools are going to, but the schools have not yet received them.
Okay, thank you. All right. Ms. Casarella?
Yes, thank you. Excuse me. I too would like to welcome our student representatives, and I'd like to say to them what I've said to all student representatives for the past 6 years. I hope this time the students will heed what I'm saying. While we certainly welcome your comments and concerns about your schools, the other purpose of your being on this board as a student representative is to participate in the actions of our agenda. So it is incumbent on you to review the agenda items and ask questions about them. That is just as much your responsibility as coming to complain or speak about different issues going on in your schools. And that will be a very beneficial experience. Those policies, some are way overdue.
Yes, you will see the policies.
When will we see those, Brian?
I can give them to you this week.
Okay, great. If we could all get those, that would be swell. Thank you.
This time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Oberg?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank
We're adjourned.
you.
You've been watching the regular monthly meeting of the Camden Advisory Board of Education. Join us next month for the regular monthly meeting of the Camden Advisory Board of Education.